Tick Tock, Tick Tock, written and illustrated by Judy Graham. This book is based on a true event. If you ever go to a small town called Monson, located in western Massachusetts, take notice of the old tower clock at 2 High Street. The clock was built by the E. Howard Clock Company of Boston and is part of the Monson Free Library. The library building was built way back in 1881, and it had a new wing added to it in 1990. Not the kind of wing you see on a bird, but the kind of wing that people call a new part or section added to an older building. Anyway, the library was originally named the Horatio Lyon Memorial Library Building. It has the only remaining tower clock in Monson that requires someone to wind it by hand. The other tower clocks in Monson have been converted to run with electricity. The most amazing thing is that after so many years, the clock is not only still ticking, it still displays the correct time. But it hasn't always displayed the correct time. In the summer of 2004, there was a loud crash and clatter. The sound came from a handmade weight attached to a cable used to wind the clock. The cable was made out of rope. Well, the cable snapped and the weight fell to the ground. That's when the clock stopped ticking. The weight is made out of an old wooden box that holds a bunch of rocks, and it weighs almost 100 pounds. The wooden box of rocks is then pulled up by a cable and used as a counterweight for moving the hands of the clock. Mr. Brian Mashenko and his son Jesse have shared the job of winding the clock every 8 days ever since Mr. John Mallow turned the job over to Mr. Mashenko in 1991. Before Mr. Mallow, Mr. Norman Brown used to wind the clock. It's been a tradition that's been handed down through the years and cherished by each person given the honor to carry it on. In order to get to the clock, Jesse and his dad have to climb up into the tower. First, they have to climb a set of old stairs and then up a very old ladder made by hand. The ladder is made out of the same wood as the old box used to make the weight. It was Jesse's turn to wind the clock the day the cable broke and caused the old wood box to break apart and scatter the rocks all over the floor. He was standing right next to it when it broke. Luckily, Jesse was not hurt, but you can imagine how startled he must have been. Jesse called his dad immediately. When Mr. Mashenko heard what happened, he said he was sure glad that Jesse wasn't hurt. He also said that he couldn't imagine the clock not working any longer. So, Mr. Mashenko decided to get some help to fix the clock. He called Mr. O'Connor, a local contractor man, and told him what happened. Mr. O'Connor agreed that something must be done to fix the clock. He went to the library and took a very close look at the machine that runs the clock. After careful examination of the mechanical parts of the clock, Mr. O'Connor said he thought he knew what needed fixing. He also said he would see what he could do to get the clock working again. Well, as it turned out, Mr. O'Connor knew exactly what needed fixing, and he had an idea about how to fix it. His company makes ski lift cables for ski areas all over the country. So Mr. O'Connor was able to find just the right metal cable to replace the old, worn-out rope cable. He was also able to fix a broken metal plate for the wooden box, and now, every time you walk or drive by 2 High Street, the clock in the old tower continues to go tick-tock, tick-tock, as it is wound every 8 days by Brian Mashenko and his son Jesse. Who knows, maybe one day if Jesse has a son or daughter, he can give one of them the honor of carrying on the tradition of winding the tower clock. And so on, and so on, and so on. The end. My name is Judy Graham. I was inspired to write this book after reading an article written by Kim Ring, published in the Springfield Republican. This book is dedicated to my father-in-law, Hugh D. Graham. He served as the president of the library board for a number of years and was very much involved with the addition of the new library wing built in 1990.